When Tim Ryan, Shawano leader reporter, started to fail at his duties and Lorna couldn't get her malicious lies and deceit out there far enough to do the damage she was looking for, she started to do some research. This research was extremely difficult. She was looking for that special someone who was young and energetic and open to her malicious plans to exterminate innocent people, just like her forefather taught her to do in all of his teachings and religious writings. She had visions of SIST personnel blood flowing down the streets of Shawano, and in her dreams she was drinking of it and it tasted good to her. She frantically started visiting all of the Lutheran churches in the area looking for this special person who had as extreme of what she felt to be a true Lutheran upbringing as she had. That is when she called upon Michael Lauber. She found that he would have no problem with being led on to her elusive tactics and malicious plans to destroy these innocent people. Michael Lauber has become one of her true believers and has taken his job very seriously in his belief that Lorna is a descendant of angels. He has carefully covered his tracks and studied hard to be the best he could be. But that wasn't good enough for his bloodthirsty mistress, so out of fear of losing his title as a chief cult minister of propaganda, lies, and deceit, he called upon the Armenian for help. Michael Lauber was pretty sure that Armen Keteyian would come to his aid. In Bethany Lutheran College, he was taught that the Armenian Apostolic Christians were all ultra-Orthodox extremists who also believed, as the ultra-Orthodox Lutherans did, that everyone should be converted or be killed. He learned how through all of history, ever since 301 in the Common Era, when the Armenian king Tiridates III was converted to Christianity by Gregory the Illuminator, the Armenian Apostolic Christians have been known for their brutal tactics in destroying those who were not like them. He had also learned about how during the first two world wars, the Armenian Christians had befriended Germany and their annihilation of anyone who had a different belief system than them. He was given many examples of how throughout all of history the Armenian Apostolic Christians would torture, murder, and annihilate anyone who was not like them. He truly believed that he would be able to work things out between himself and Armen, and by only telling Armen what he wanted Armen to know, he would be able to develop a deep friendship, just as their respective societies have been able to do for many generations. Sure enough, he was right. Armen Keteyian is a supposed descendant of the Armenian Apostolic Christians who in the 1530s in the Anatolian town of Amasia started the false blood libel story about the boy who supposedly was killed by the Jews of the town to use his blood for Passover. This malicious lie cost the Jews thousands of lives. The boy who had been supposedly killed was later found alive and well, but still, somehow, they were able to continue this story for generations to come. Armen's grandparents had to flee Armenia when the Turkish troops went into the country to protect the many innocent citizens living there whom did not believe as the Armenian Christians did. Armen's grandparents must have been part of the Armenian Apostolic Christian extremist movement when they went into small towns like Azri, destroying innocent people's property and mutilating and killing thousands of innocent people, all because they were not Armenian Apostolic Christian. Out of respect for the dignity and quality of these innocent people who had been tortured and killed, the Turkish troops entered these sections of Armenia and drove the Armenian extremist movement out in 1915. Many members of these extremist movements who were guilty of countless atrocities on other living, breathing human beings then had to flee for their lives. Armen has grown up in this kind of extremist environment, and even though he has been in the United States his whole life, doesn't really value the principles given to us by the American Constitution that most of us as American citizens take for granted. It is obvious from Armen's type of reporting on this issue that if you don't believe as he does, you should be driven out or killed. That is why Armen came to the small town of Shawano. Armen feels it is his duty to drive out anyone who does not hold the same belief system and the same brutal values that he does. Armen's goal in life is to destroy the American values and freedoms that our parents, great-grandparents, and great-great-grandparents have fought and died for. He thinks that if you are not a member of what he feels to be a mainstream religion and don't follow what he thinks to be the mainstream culture, you should be exterminated. He doesn't believe in the real truth. As a matter of fact, he is willing to only say what he is told to say as long as it meets his agenda. After all, as I pointed out before, does his so-called investigative report show any real facts related to this issue? No. His story was exactly as he told us in our meeting on the street. A story. It was a story based on unproven allegations and incomplete information, just as his Wausau counterpart stories are. The chief cult minister of propaganda, lies, and deceit, Michael Lauber, has never told a single truth about any of these issues because he is under direct orders from Lorna to remain secretive and deceitful in his so-called reporting. Why else would Armen call cult leader Lorna after his broadcast aired and asked her how she liked it? What is this murderous, deceitful cult leader Lorna Marquardt going to do once she is found out? What are the police, sheriff, and fire chief going to do once their sins find them out? Will they be able to handle the inside of a prison cell for a few years? What is Michael Lauber going to do for a job once his corrupted reporting on these issues involving SIST and SIST's personnel is exposed? What is Armen Keteyian going to do once somebody else who was not involved in this scandal gets into the police records and does their own investigating? What is the sheriff department going to do once copies of the documents and reports that they have mysteriously lost are turned over to somebody who will do something about it? After all, this is America. There may be an underlying hatred by those few extremists who hate anybody who is different, but in the end, the truth always prevails. Lorna, are you having trouble sleeping at night over all the things you have done and wondering what your prison sentence is going to be? And to the judges of Shawano that will even be so bold as to prosecute an innocent woman for, quote, loitering on her own property. Do you know what it is like to be a prisoner inside a prison in which you have put your fellow inmates, many of them wrongfully? You had better take a look at what you are doing and all the crimes you have already committed by passing out wrongful sentences. More than just your reputation might be in harm's reach once you are inside a prison alongside those who passionately hate you for destroying their families and their lives.